Hello and welcome back to Bookish. Given the current crisis going on in the United States of America, I'm home for at least another week, extending my school spring break to 2 weeks and giving me lots more time to read and make videos. And since as a result of all this stuff, I'm a little antsy. I've been looking for things to do. Fortunately, I have good friends here in the BookTube community and I've been tagged to do some tag videos, so I'm going to do a couple of tag videos and a review this week. There'll probably be at least one more video for me this week than normal. I think I do 3 a week, probably at least 4 a week this week, depending on how the rest of the week goes. The tag I'm doing today is the Pi tag, or the Pi Day tag. Sorry, I said that wrong. The Pi Day tag was created by the channel Literature and Science Alliance, which I had not heard of before this tag. And I'm glad now that I have, because I've subscribed to that tag. And essentially, it was supposed to be a celebration of March the 14th, 314, or the first 3 digits of pi, the number. Which, being a math person, that's about the best I can do in terms of what pi is and what pi isn't. I was tagged by my good friend Alan over at Big Hard Books and Classics. It is a really cool tag. I thought it was really fun, giving me a chance to talk about some books and stuff I don't think I've ever gotten to talk about on my channel here, and some kind of interesting questions, all kind of related to pi, the number, and then also pi, the food. So there are only 5 prompts. The first prompt is that pi is an irrational number. Let me make sure I'm reading the prompts right. Yes, pi is an irrational number. Name an irrational character. I'm going to go with Quentin Compson from William Faulkner's Absalom, Absalom, and The Sound of the Fury. This is the male Quentin Compson, who essentially can't get over his family's troubled history and the troubled history of the South in terms of race relations and all kinds of other things, and he kills himself. Absalom, Absalom is the story. I think Alan's talked about this, and I've seen other places in which the least possible action actually takes place. It's all just a narration from the memory of other characters through Quentin told to his college roommate. And you know, the events of the past are revealed kind of slowly with additional information being added. Apparently this is a part of Quentin's, I'm going to say the word mania, and hopefully that's not offensive, which eventually then drives him to suicide. So I'm going to call that him my irrational character. Prompt number 2 is to name a book. Oops, let me read the prompt the way it's supposed to be read. Prompt number 2 is pi comes from the word perimitro, meaning perimeter. Name a book about borders. I couldn't pass up the opportunity to mention The Lost Children Archive by Valeria Luiselli, one of my top reads of last year, which is set primarily around a trip to the border between the United States and Mexico. It also explores the borders between people, the borders between families, the borders between men and women, the borders between the United States and Mexico, the borders between children and adults. Every kind of border here is represented, even the border, the imaginary line border you draw down the back seat of a car between you and your sister while on a family road trip. It's a brilliant book. It is definitely about borders, and again, if you've been put off by the idea that part of the book is told from the point of view of the story of a child, please don't let that put you off. It works. So, Lost Children Archive, that's my book, which features borders. Prompt 3, pi is a constant. What is a comforting book that is a constant in your life? I've mentioned this book before, so this won't be new, but book-wise, the most comforting book in my life is the Upanishads, work of Hindu religious wisdom. You can see that I have all kinds of pages tabbed here with some of my favorite quotes highlighted, and I go back to this often when I need to feel, more calm. Matter of fact, I should break it out and look at it today. When I need to feel more calm, I need to feel more settled. I'm not a person of deep religious beliefs, and I'm not saying there's anything necessarily mystical about this, but to me this oftentimes just feels like wisdom, and I'll take wisdom wherever I can find it because it's certainly in short supply. Prompt 4 is, let's see, prompt 4, pi has infinite decimal places. Call out a series that you feel may never end. The series I feel may never end is what I'm going to refer to as Star Wars fan fiction. I know in the world of Star Wars novels, books are turned out on a fairly regular basis, exploring all the characters and subworlds and backworlds and additional worlds in Star Wars. And to me, that's pretty infinite. I think those books could be written essentially forever. So I'm going to call that my endless series, even though I will admit it's not something I read, and I promise you that's not snobbery. Read what you want, love what you love to read. It doesn't make any difference. It's just not for me. I grew tired of the George Lucas world just from the movies, and so I don't have any interest in it myself, but that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it or that you shouldn't enjoy it. Prompt 5, what is your favorite pie, and name a book that embodies that pie? Well, my favorite pie is my wife's apple pie with a crumb topping. And according to the old Chevrolet commercial, baseball, apple pie, baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, and Chevrolet are the four most American things there can be. So, apple pie is kind of synonymous with the United States of America. And so to pick books, or pick one book that I thought kind of encompassed that apple pie idea of the United States of America was actually impossible. So I just went to my shelves. You may notice there are more gaps than usual. I just went to my shelves back there and picked out books that I thought were inherently American. So to start with, The Hamlet by William Faulkner, the story of a grasping small-town Southern family, pretty American. Gilead by Marilyn Robinson, a minister who's near the end of his life, writes essentially a letter to his son explaining his life, in which we slowly learn more and more about their life, his family's life in Kansas around the time of the Civil War. The Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan, which is a book which centers around Asian American family, immigrant and their immigrant history and their history of their family in China. A great book. Couldn't pass up a James Michener novel. The only James Michener novel I have on my shelves is this one, Alaska. Michener is, a celebrator of America and other things. He writes these really long, chunky novels using kind of a geographic setting oftentimes as his focal point, and multiple generations telling kind of the history of Alaska or Texas, wherever it may be, through the form of a novel. Lonesome Dove, nothing's more American than cowboys and their interactions with Native Americans, and Lonesome Dove is, one of the great American novels. Speaking of great American novels, I did a whole video about The Great Gatsby not long ago. This at one time I think probably represented what we think of as the American dream, and the reality of America, that dream is ungraspable as the green light is unachievable for Gatsby. I just finished reading James Baldwin's Another Country, and one of the things, a buddy read this with Sean the Book Maniac, and one of the things that I found most remarkable about this is how it seemed to have captured everything you could say about race relations in the United States of America around the 1950s and 60s in a really brilliant way. So James Baldwin's Another Country. Louise Erdrich, Native American author who writes about novels set on reservations in the Dakotas and in Minnesota, and the interaction of reservation life with white citizens, communities, and governments around them. And The Roundhouse is, I think, her best book that I've read. And then one of the great books, I think, ever is The Known World by Edward P. Jones, which takes a unique view on that most unsettling American institution, the institution of racism in the United States, and its impact on the lives of the enslaved people and on the enslavers and on the United States in general. So there you go. Those are my American books, based on the idea that my favorite pie is my wife's apple crumb top pie, or apple pie with a crumb topping. There you go. I didn't choose any people or didn't list any people to do this tag because Pie Day's already come and gone. But if you want to do it just for fun, I'm doing it on March the 15th, not pie at all. If you want to do it, please feel free. I look forward to your comments in the comment section below, and as always, thank you for watching.